I can't speak on what her intentions were. I can only speak on how I handled the situation. And how I handled it is someone who's upset about the outcome that occurred.
Serena Williams is not the type to sit back and stay quiet when she sees a fellow player getting torn down, especially on something as ugly as race. The latest firestorm in tennis has everyone talking because Taylor Townsend just got hit with racist comments from none other than Jelena Ostapenko, and the entire stadium was left stunned. Now, Serena's name is swirling in the middle of this controversy, with fans demanding answers and even whispering about whether Ostapenko could actually get banned over what went down. This wasn't just another messy US Open argument, it was way deeper. From the very moment Taylor walked off the court with her victory, the vibe shifted. Ostapenko didn't just lose a match, she lost her cool completely. She looked Taylor straight in the face and spat venom. No class, no education. And then dropped a chilling warning. We'll see what happens outside the US.
I mean, it's competition. People get upset when they lose, and some people say bad things. She told me I have no class, I have no education, and to see what happens when we get outside the US. So I'm looking forward to it.
The crowd gasped in disbelief because they knew exactly what she was implying. That wasn't just trash talk. It was a threat dressed up as shade, and it hit different in a sport that's carried a long history of coded language used against Black women. And make no mistake, this was personal. Tennis has tried to polish its image as a gentleman's and ladies' sport, but behind those white skirts and country club traditions, there's an ugly record of bias, snubs, and racist digs aimed at women who dared not fit the mold. From Serena's catsuit ban to Venus being mocked for her body and hair, it's been a non-stop battle. So when Ostapenko threw those words at Taylor, the sting wasn't just about one player. It echoed decades of disrespect Black women in tennis have had to endure. Now the question is louder than ever. Will the tennis world finally hold someone accountable, or will this just get brushed under the rug like so many times before? But here's what makes it bigger than just tennis drama. This wasn't simply two athletes trading words. The moment tapped into a long, ugly history of how Black women in tennis have been treated. For decades, they've been branded with stereotypes like angry, classless, or uneducated, no matter how much grace they show on the court, and Ostapenko's words fell right in line with that tired playbook. Black Twitter caught it instantly. They dissected the dog whistles in real time, and they weren't about to let Ostapenko get away with it. Within minutes, clips of the exchange were flooding timelines, the hashtags were blowing up, and the receipts were everywhere. Fans called it for what it was. Not just trash talk, but racially loaded shade hiding under the thin veil of so-called tennis etiquette. Fans wasted no time tearing into Ostapenko after her outburst. One person tweeted, "Being a sore loser and then trying to insult someone is the definition of no class." Another clapped back with, "Ostapenko should be fined yet again for unsportsmanlike behavior." And someone else said, "Why is she not being fined? Mad as hell, acting like a toddler. Why are you even in a competitive sport if you can't accept defeat?" The crowd online was dragging her left and right, and the energy was brutal. But then the fire really spread when Naomi Osaka stepped up to the mic at her press conference. And let's be clear, Naomi doesn't sugarcoat a thing.
You're genuinely asking me about the history of Ostapenko. I don't think that's the craziest thing she said. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's ill timing and the worst person you could have ever said it to. And I don't know if she knows the history of it in America. But I know she's never gonna say that ever again in her life. But yeah, I mean, it was just terrible.
She didn't just call out the incident, she dropped a bombshell. This wasn't the first time Ostapenko has been shady. She straight up hinted that there's a pattern here, that Ostapenko has thrown slick comments before and the tennis world just hasn't been paying enough attention. Naomi went beyond defending Taylor. She broke down why those words cut so deep. She spoke on how tennis has long been a sport where Black women are forced to work twice as hard just to get half the respect. It's not just about one match or one player, it's about a system that's been stacked against them for decades. And hearing Naomi, a Grand Slam champion with global influence, put it out there so bluntly, that sent shockwaves through the tennis world, Serena Williams was branded angry every time she dared show emotion on the court. Venus Williams was painted as cold simply for existing with her quiet strength. And Coco Gauff, she's been mocked as too cocky whenever she celebrates a hard-earned win. So when Naomi Osaka stood up and called all this out, she wasn't just protecting Taylor, she was exposing the whole dirty system of coded racism that has haunted tennis for decades. And let's talk about that crowd, because what happened in the stands was just as historic. Normally, tennis audiences are calm, polite claps, hushed whispers, sipping champagne while trying not to wrinkle their Lacoste polos. But this time, the energy was completely different. Fans were on their feet, shouting, cheering for Taylor like it was a block party colliding with a championship final. The atmosphere had flipped from country club quiet to full-on street celebration, and that told you everything about how powerful this moment was. But here's where things really got explosive. People thought the drama would fizzle after the match, but nope. The real wildfire ignited once the Williams name entered the conversation. Suddenly, this wasn't just about Taylor versus Ostapenko, it became about history. It touched a nerve so deep that Serena's entire career was being pulled into the spotlight again, because she's lived through these same coded jabs over and over. For decades, Serena has carried the weight of being disrespected with those sly backhanded comments dressed up as etiquette. Every victory she earned came with someone trying to undermine it, twisting her strength into aggression or her passion into rage. And now, seeing Taylor face that same storm, the parallels were undeniable, and the outrage was louder than ever. If you've been following tennis even a little, you already know this playbook, and because we've seen it before with Serena Williams. Flashback to the 2009 US Open semifinal against Kim Clijsters. Serena got hit with a controversial foot fault, and in the heat of the moment, she snapped at the line judge with that now infamous line, "I'll stuff this ball down your throat, I swear." The crowd gasped, the camera zoomed in, and the very next day, the media went into overdrive. Headlines branded her unruly, disrespectful, angry. They dragged her for showing passion in the middle of a career-defining match. But here's the double standard. John McEnroe could smash rackets, curse out officials, scream bloody murder, and somehow he was praised as fiery, a rebel, a competitor who kept the sport interesting. Serena, she was vilified. That's the ugly bias she carried every time she stepped on court, and it's exactly why her name hitting this Taylor versus Ostapenko mess felt so symbolic. Because when the Williams legacy aligned with Taylor Townsend, it wasn't just casual support, it felt like a torch being passed. Serena's career has always been about breaking down barriers, and now Taylor is facing the same coded attacks Serena battled for decades. The moment felt generational, like history linking arms. And then Venus Williams, the quieter assassin of the Williams dynasty, added her voice. After her doubles win with Leylah Fernandez, reporters asked her about the drama, and Venus handled it with her signature poise. Calm, measured, elegant, she didn't need to raise her voice to make her point. Venus gave her support while still keeping her dignity intact, proving once again that she's the cool storm to Serena's fire. Meanwhile, as Venus stayed classy, the internet did the exact opposite, and the memes, tweets, and clapbacks were ruthless. Social media detectives wasted no time digging up receipts, and let me tell you, they were ugly. Fans pulled out old clips of Ostapenko smashing rackets like a rock star in meltdown mode, screaming at umpires with zero chill, and flat out disrespecting opponents on the regular. This wasn't just a bad day for her. People quickly pieced together that this was a pattern. Clip after clip painted a picture of a player who throws tantrums whenever things don't go her way, and the internet wasn't about to let that slide. And just when the storm reached its peak, Ostapenko dropped her so-called apology on Instagram. But instead of owning up to the damage, it read like one of those carefully scripted PR statements designed to soften the blow. She wrote, I want to apologize for some of the things I said during my second round singles match. English is not my native language, so when I said education, I was speaking only about what I believe is tennis etiquette. The problem? Nobody was buying it. Fans instantly called out the half apology for what it was, a weak attempt to dodge accountability by blaming the language barrier. People said she wasn't sorry for the insult, just sorry she got caught on camera saying it. Screenshots of her post were flying across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with captions dragging her for being fake, and the backlash only got louder. Ostapenko's apology ended with the classic PR spin. But I understand how the words I used could have offended many people beyond the tennis court. I appreciate the support as I continue to learn and grow as a person and a tennis player. Cute, right? But Taylor Townsend wasn't even fazed. When reporters asked her about the apology, she brushed it off with the smoothest shrug and said she hadn't even seen it because she was too busy focusing on winning. That's how you know she wasn't about to give Ostapenko an ounce of power over her shine. And here's where it got even better. Taylor didn't just dismiss the drama, she sprinkled in shade without even trying. That quiet confidence, that effortless clapback without saying much at all is exactly what made her stand out in this whole mess. While Ostapenko was scrambling to clean up her image, Taylor was glowing in the spotlight like nothing could touch her. But just when people thought the story couldn't get messier, Serena Williams decided to stir the pot in her own playful way. Fans remembered that viral TikTok she made about Venus teaming up with Leylah Fernandez instead of her. And yes, Serena was being petty on purpose. She captioned it, "When you see your sister at Venus Williams has a new doubles partner at Leylah Annie Fernandez, and you are really happy she's winning with someone else." It was peak Serena. Funny, shady, and just a little too relatable. Even though Venus and Serena will always be unshakably close, that TikTok had fans cracking up because it showed that even legends can get salty when their sister links up with someone new. Social media ate it up, turning it into yet another layer of drama tied to this already explosive storyline. Playful or not, Serena's TikTok proved one thing loud and clear: she is still locked in on every second of the US Open drama, even while enjoying retirement. But the bigger picture here takes us way back. In the 90s, the Williams sisters were dragged for absolutely everything. Serena was labeled angry just for showing emotion. Venus was painted as cold simply for being reserved. Meanwhile, Hingis and Sharapova were celebrated as graceful, praised for the very qualities Serena and Venus were punished for. Their bodies, their game, even their facial expressions were policed nonstop. And for years, the sisters carried that weight completely alone. Fast forward to 2025, and the landscape looks different. It's no longer just one or two Black women fighting the stereotypes. It's an entire squad. Coco Gauff, Madison Keys, Sloane Stephens, Naomi Osaka, Alicia Parks, and now Taylor Townsend, a powerhouse lineup who've got each other's backs. So when Ostapenko decided to aim her comments at Taylor, she wasn't just coming for one player, she was stepping into the ring against an entire army, and yet people couldn't help but notice something strange. Serena staying quiet about this specific drama. Fans found it awkward, especially since Taylor herself gave Serena her flowers years ago in the most heartfelt way. In a 2022 Instagram post, Taylor wrote, "All I can say is, thank you. Thank you for inspiring me to see that a dream that felt unimaginable was possible. Thank you for leading by example and showing how to deal with struggles, criticism, and adversity while the world is watching. I can go on, but I cannot wait to see what your next chapter brings." That message was emotional, genuine, and showed just how much Serena meant to Taylor's journey. So now fans are asking, why hasn't Serena stepped in louder, especially when Taylor is literally living the same battles she once fought? We love Serena, but while she's keeping it low-key, plenty of others are turning the volume all the way up. Shannon Sharpe already went in on Ostapenko during his broadcast, dragging her from start to finish and calling her out with zero hesitation. His rant spread fast online. and people were cheering him on for saying what needed to be said. Meanwhile, the media has completely flipped the script on Ostapenko. What should have been remembered as her career-defining tournament is now being overshadowed by tantrums, disrespect, and racially loaded shade. The headlines aren't about her matches anymore, they're about her meltdowns. And slowly but surely, her entire brand is crumbling right before our eyes. But here's the twist. Ostapenko thought she was throwing shade at Taylor Townsend, but what she actually did was spark a movement. Taylor's not just walking away with a win, she's carrying the torch now. Venus has stepped in to show her support. Serena's watching closely from the sidelines, and the new squad of Black women in tennis has never looked stronger. This isn't just about one ugly comment. It's about unity, history, and a generation demanding respect in a sport that's tried to deny it for too long. And let's be real, if you think this is the end of the drama, you're mistaken. Tennis just got a taste of its own revolution, and the next scandal, oh, it's already loading, and the world is ready to see who's about to get exposed next.